afternoon. Happy fall. I am Chef Jenny and Rebecca is filming this afternoon. Today I'm going to make a sweet and savory harvest soup with pears and parsnips, which is very British. Reading my mother's scrapbooks from her college and war days in England, there is always a pureed soup, lots of peas. This recipe is from The Passionate Vegetarian by Crescent Dragon Wagon. I think it was 2002. My husband bought me this book when I was teaching vegetarian cooking at Yavapai College. I guess he thought I needed it. The first thing I would do when I was teaching was to place a simmering pot of water, a soup pot, on the stove. And as we prepared our vegetables for the recipes later in the day, we would deposit the skins, the peels, the stems, and any of the trimmings into the pot, and then we would have stock or broth. Actually, a broth is without bones, and a stock, by definition, is made with bones if you were doing a meat or even a seafood. Okay, so today I put into the stock pot earlier in the day, and I have prepared the broth already. I put in the trimmings from a parsnip. And a parsnip, if you smell it, smells very much like a carrot. It smells very sort of a sweet tuber that grows under the earth. And I added parsley stems, some chopped celery. I crushed a couple of cloves of garlic. I put in one mushroom, I put in a baby bell pepper, I put in a bay leaf, a little bit of peppercorn, a dash of salt. What else did I put in there? That sounds about right. And then I simmered it for a little over an hour. So I did that, and what I need today is I need about 6½ cups of broth for the soup recipe. So I put in a little over 8 cups of water because there's a lot of evaporation, especially in Prescott at this altitude. Okay, so I prepared that, and then I took 2½ cups of the, I strained out the cooking vegetables from the stock. Then I put 2½ cups of the broth into my smaller pan, and I cut up, trimmed and cored parsnips, 2 large parsnips and 3 pears. And I cut those into a large dice, and I cooked them until they were tender. In fact, now the parsnips and pears, I'm going to step over here to the sink. The parsnips and pears are tender, so I'm going to strain the stock because we're going to be using that for our soup. And I've just done it using a colander. And now we want to puree these vegetables. So we're going to place them in our blender. Whoops, one got away. There we go. And we better add a little bit of the stock to that while we puree them. And all right. Use a blender to puree vegetables and fruits for your soups. And I might have to give it a little stir here. And you would use a food processor if you were chopping, but the blender is better for pureeing. Seems very old-fashioned to be pureeing something. But it'll work. There we go. Give it a shake just to make it there. Woo. There. I'm pureed.
Can you stand to the side a little so we can see the puree?
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, after we puree these vegetables, we're going to add them into our soup pot. And with the reserved broth. And then we're going to add about another 4 cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe a little that I lost of our broth. And you can always adjust things if it's too thin or too. Let's see if that pureed. Yep. One more second with that. It doesn't matter if it's completely pureed. So there we go. Okay, so we're going to add that to the soup pot. And now our soup needs to simmer for about 15 minutes. Okay, the soup has been simmering for 15 minutes, give or take a second, and it smells wonderful. Remember that British food is really bland, by the way, so we need to taste it and see
Where's
if
your British accent?
Yeah, we need to taste it and see if it needs any salt and pepper. My mother spoke the King's English, by the way, so she would just faint if she heard me. Tastes like pears and parsnips. So what I do when I season things is I don't want to over salt something. You can only get too much salt and pepper if you want to ruin it. So I'll go, it makes 4 servings. So ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can add more. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, this would be good with a shot of brandy or something in it. Or curry would be wonderful with this, actually. So we're going to give it a stir. And let's see if it's any good. Oh, that's perfect. So Rebecca and I are going to enjoy some of this soup for lunch. I hope you like this, Rebecca. And let me do a second bowl. By the way, parsnips are high in vitamin A, and pears are very high in fiber. So it's very nutritious, and it certainly is fall. You would have fruit. Now, the soup, can you see that, Rebecca? The soup is sort of a little, sort of pale. So let's fix it up a little.
I think you said bland earlier.
Pale.
Pale? Okay.
I put some watercress. Arugula or parsley would be good. Pickle. How's that? Now, for the Harvest Festival, I've prepared a soup primer. Tells you how to make soup from scratch without a recipe. So you can email me and I'd be happy to share that with you. We're also doing a green team harvest recipe booklet. Please submit recipes, and I have them by sections: appetizers, entrees, etc. And after that's completed, after October the 4th, then you can email me for a copy of that. Here's my email address. Oh, the soup I think would be good also with bread or crackers on the side. And have a wonderful fall season. Enjoy.